In this video, I'm going to go over solving functions, and it's a little different from what I did in my previous video, where we would say something like f of 2, not f of m equals 2. So we're given this function f of m, obviously I've already mentioned, and it's f of m equals the square root of m minus 4. Okay, makes sense, right? We have m is our variable, and there's an m in the function. So now it says solve for f of m equals 2, not f of 2. You got to remember the difference. If f of m equals 2, then we're substituting f of m, not m. What we're solving for is m. That's what we want to solve for this time. If we were evaluating for f of 2, then we would just do square root of 2 minus 4, which is consequently the square root of negative 2, which is I square root 2. So it's an imaginary number. But that's not what they're asking for. Saying solve for f of m equals 2. So f of m is 2. Now we're solving for m. So we need to get m by itself, right? So what do we do to get rid of a square root is we square it, right? Square this whole thing, and what you do to one side of an equation, thou doest to the other. Remember the old math commandments? 4 equals m minus 4. Okay, still trying to get m by itself. Add 4 to both sides. M equals 8. And there's your answer. Now, you should always check your answer. Make sure you did it right. So let's just do that. 2 equals square root of 8 minus 4. 8 minus 4 is 4, right? Square root of 4 is 2. Positive, negative 2, but yeah, 2. So that checks. All right, let's try this next one. F of m equals 6. So instead of f of m, we write 6 equals, let's just, for the sake of showing you that what you have on one side of an equation doesn't really matter if it's on the right-hand side or the left-hand side. Let's just put the 6 on the right-hand side and solve for m on the left-hand side. All right, square both sides just like we just did. What we get? We get m minus 4 equals 36. Add 4 to both sides. M equals 40, right? 6 equals square, and then we got to check that answer. 40 minus 4, 6 equals square root of 36. 6 equals 6. Yep, that checks. Better check mark. All right, here's another example. Got a whole new function here. H of x equals x squared plus 3x. And they're asking us to solve for h of x equals 10 first. Okay, so let's start there. 10 equals x squared plus 3x. Well, can we just factor this? Not really, because it's not set to equal to 0. So we got to move the 10 over here, which is not something you normally do when you're trying to isolate a variable. But since we have an x squared and an x, we want the quadratic equation equal to 0. So x squared plus 3x minus 10 equals 0. Now we go back to our good friend factoring, right? So what adds to get 3 and multiplies to get negative 10? Well, Factors of negative 10, there's, well, 10 and 1, right? But they don't add to get positive 3. 5 and 2, that works. So long as one of them is negative, right? And the negative should be 2. So 5 minus 2 is 3, and 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. So let's use x plus 5, x minus 2 are our factors. And you can always check my factoring math here. X times x, x squared, minus 2x plus 5x minus 10. Yep, we're good. All right, so set those equal to 0, right? And you get x equals negative 5 and x equals 2. And you can check those answers as well. Negative 5 squared, 25. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Does that equal 10? Yeah, 25 minus 10 is 10. 25 minus 15 is 10. So that checks. 2. 2 squared is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 plus 6 is also 10. So that checks too. All right, let's do part B. Let's draw a line here so we don't get confused. H of x equals negative 2, right? We can do that. X squared plus 3x equals negative 2. All right, bring the 2 over. 3x plus 2 equals 0. What multiplies to get 2 but adds to get 3? 2 times 1, right? The only thing that that you can multiply together, only two numbers you can multiply together to get 2. Rational numbers, I mean. And they add to get 3, so that works. So x plus 2 equals 0, and x plus 1 equals 0. So x equals negative 2, right? And x equals negative 1. Here's our answers. And we can always check those answers as well. Negative 2 squared plus 3 times negative 2. It's supposed to equal negative 2. 4 minus 6, right? Positive 3 times negative 2 is negative 6 equals negative 2. Yep, that checks. And negative 1. The negative 1 squared is positive 1. And negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. Yep, that works.